I believe that books can change your art, and that's why I'm showing you a golden find that I found in the library and how it has also given me the chance to explore new ways of painting. After replicating a few paintings from this very book, I felt like I needed this book to stay in my home. And this is where I went onto Amazon to try and look for the book so that I could purchase it. And I got such a shock when I saw the price. I realized that this book is no longer in print, and I wish that you could see this book. So this is why I decided to do a review so you can enjoy the beautiful pages on this book. At the same time, I want to also bring you through my sketchbook where I have replicated some of these paintings. I love books with flowers in them. So when I found this book on the shelf of a library, I was taken aback by finding all of these beautiful paintings done by such beautiful masters from the past, and I got curious about how they came to be. So this is my short book review of a book that I feel has really transformed my sketchbook journey, just because after I delved into this book, I also started to pick up certain styles and certain things that I really enjoyed doing in my sketchbook. If you are new to my channel, hello, and if you are returning, welcome back. My name is Jillian. I'm a psychologist turned full-time watercolor artist, and in this channel, you will not just find tutorials, but I want to help you to embrace the mess and magic of watercolor. I often love to go through libraries to scour for books that are on bouquet and floral arrangement, and it so happened that this particular book caught my eye, and right here you can see that it has a very beautiful cover of a floral painting, and the title is Working Amongst Flowers, Floral Still Life Painting in 19th Century France. This book is actually by the McDonald and Mitchell Merling. So I want to bring you through this book just for you to get a sense of what kind of paintings we can find in this book. It gives you such a captivating array of flower arrangements, colors, brushstrokes. There is so much in this book that really I love to flip through and take a look at. This book takes us on such a journey through the world of floral still life painting in 19th century France. And it goes into the life and the works of renowned artists who basically masterfully captured this beauty of flowers on canvas. So can you imagine, so many of these flowers are actually still life paintings that many of these mid-century artists had created. But what sets this book apart is that I feel like it can be such an incredible potential for inspiration for contemporary painters, especially if you are working with gouache or acrylic or even watercolor. Some of the color combinations that you find in this book are so inspiring. You also get to read about the things that these artists are drawn to in terms of the flowers, the style, the different techniques that they like, and all the different kinds of mediums that they use during their time of painting. I explored the pages of Working Amongst Flowers. I was actually immediately struck by the wealth of all of these different paintings, attention to detail in each of these reproduction. The authors have actually really curated a collection of work that showcase the evolution of floral still life during some of those eras. I find that one of the biggest benefits of using a reference book like this for inspiration in painting, whether it's watercolor, gouache, acrylic, is the ability to study the techniques and the brushwork of all these master painters. And each painting in this book kind of provides a window to the artist's creative process, and it also allows us to observe all the various brushstrokes, color choices, and composition strategies as well. This was a painting that I found in the book that really inspired this particular painting that I did, where I really enjoyed seeing how they had used white highlights to capture the light of the flower, and I tried to do the same with gouache as well to help me to get some of those dry brush effects. And that's because I noticed how the artist had used much thicker consistency of paint to put it in their flowers, especially towards the centers. So this is what I mean by using the paintings that I see to create my own impression or learn from how they are using the materials. And this piece here, this very bouquet here, inspired this very piece that I did in gouache. So you can see how I had tried to capture light in my flowers again by using highlights, keeping in mind some of the different dry brush strokes, and I'm also trying to add my own flair and composition to what I'm seeing here. I typically paint from reference, which are usually just books that have flowers in it, and this was my first time checking out some of these master painters just to see what they can offer. I have to say that this really helped me to deepen my practice, because I now start to think about the way in which some of these masters have included brushwork, composition, movement, and light within their work, which I find is so hard to capture. I really love how all of these artists capture light while the background is all just dark and moody, and despite all of that, you can still see the depiction of light and glow amongst all of these flowers. Just take a look at this painting, for example. If you take a close look, you can actually see some of the brush strokes. You can also see how the layers of light were placed on top of the darker tones, and at the same time, the way in which muted colors are used to enhance some of the bright colors, the contrast between the dark and the light, which kind of gives all of these different textures, and the flowers kind of have movement. There's so much to learn just looking at all of these pieces of work and the way in which the masters have captured it. So right here, I've captured my own version of Vincent van Gogh's work, and the colors that we have chosen are very different. So you can see that the colors that I've chosen are a lot more lively, and I tried to capture similar brushstroke effects by using dry brush. And typically with watercolor, we don't use much dry brush, so this was all done in gouache. This here is a painting by Eugene from 1833, and I really like the moody feel of this painting. and I created my own rendition. So you can see again from this one how those broad brush strokes were used. You can also see how the dark color is such a great contrast to the brights here. And this is where I wanted to create my own version, and here I wanted to try and add as much texture as possible. So I've actually used watercolor pencils for this one, kind of to add some of that texture. I used dry brush strokes as well to capture some of the texture again in the painting. I had so much fun with this one because when I first started out, that first layer when it was still a work in progress was really hard for me to identify where I should go, but then I managed to figure it out, and this has become a favorite painting of mine. So this painting here, I wanted to recreate it. Can you imagine all of these beautiful details? I love seeing how all the petals fall here, and so I decided to replicate it and create my own version using gouache. And this is what I got. I just picked the flowers that I really liked and I created my own version, and you know, just to get some of that movement with the petals, the texture, and just picking out one or two flowers that I really liked from this particular painting itself. Even though it's in a lot more detail, I still wanted to choose what kind of texture I wanted to add in my painting to capture that. I really enjoyed doing this piece. Here's another painting by Vincent van Gogh called Vase with Cornflowers and Poppies. And you can see that in his painting, I love the use of light and shadow. Even though the background is blue in color, he manages to still pull out the blue flowers and make them stand out. And if you look closely, you can see all of those beautiful dabbing brush strokes, so many of them being dry strokes as well. And the colors, the pop of red, the use of cool and warm yellows in his composition. It's just so amazing seeing all of this put together. And I did my own version where I also tried to replicate some of those brush strokes, some of the loose feels, and I actually added crayon and color pencil to some of this just to give it a bit of texture, almost mimicking some of the texture that I saw in his painting. Also trying to add some of that poppies, getting it to come to life. So I've learned so much just by studying his paintings, and I still have a long way to go, but just from taking a look and studying the way his paintings are reflected really has given me a chance to kind of focus on the composition, the texture, and the way in which I want to depict my painting as well. My hope is that this video has inspired you to look beyond just reference books with flowers on them, but rather to start thinking about various artists that could inspire and influence your art. Think about the various ways in which materials have been manipulated, and hopefully the next time you visit the library, you find another golden gem and share it with me. I hope to see you again. Bye.